Well, how about that? How about that, everyone? Mac Allister scores a last-second penalty in the 99th minute to give Brighton a 1-0 win over Manchester United. I was about to make this stream and talk about how it was such an entertaining game for a 0-0. Like many people would have looked at the score and gone, 0-0, dead game, etc. But it was really entertaining. There was something like 35 shots between the two teams. But Mac Allister right at the end salvages it to give Brighton all 3 points, a massive 3 points home. And I think on the balance of play, they slightly deserved it. I think a draw, to be fair, would have been a fair result. But either way, you can't hate last-second penalties, man. They literally are what makes football so amazing, so interesting. Last-second winners. And let's just say, by the way, what's a penalty by Mac Allister? The nerves of steel. Not only got knocked out to that team on penalties in the FA Cup semi-final less than 2 weeks ago. To score that penalty is unbelievable, man. Dispatched it, top bins. And you know what else he did? The penalty was given, and he stood there for about 10, 15 seconds, right? First of all, he had the ball in his hand. Normally, another player holds the ball to save it and kind of like let the penalty taker, relax a little bit, not be surrounded by the other players. But once he received the ball, once the referee blew his whistle, he waited for 10, 15 seconds. Didn't take the penalty straight away, waited, composed himself, and then scored that. What a penalty. One of the penalties of the season, man. Top bins. Not a keeper on planet Earth saves that. Congratulations, Mac Allister. Congratulations to Brighton, man. Really good victory for them as well as they continue their hunt for the European places. And I think a lot of people would not have watched a lot of Brighton football this season because they haven't been televised a lot. I've watched a lot of Brighton. I think a lot of people would have woken up now to see, wow, Brighton are a good football team. They are genuinely a very good football team. They've still got to play Arsenal. They've still got to play Man City. So that'll be another test for them. But in terms of football I'm seeing, it's very good, man. The passing between the lines, etc. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. So Brighton, congratulations to them. I think on the balance of play, they slightly deserve the win. I think United were there in parts. The one thing United have, right, which is something that I think Arsenal are lacking, and I only really see Liverpool have it, but now they've got Haaland, Man City have it as well. United have an outball. Have you noticed when United are under the cosh, they can get out of it very quickly. It's how they scored their second goal against Tottenham Hotspur. They get the ball right, and the first thing is get the ball to Fernandes, and as soon as Fernandes gets the ball, Rashford runs. That's United's outball. So it can save them a little bit. And that's how the chances were coming today. I think Brighton dominated possession. I think Brighton on the whole dominated the chances and the ball. But United remained a constant threat on the counter-attack because of their outball through Fernandes and Rashford. It wasn't enough in today's game, but look, I think that serves United well, to be honest, for games to come. But losing away from home in big matches, it's a problem for United, man. It's a problem. They need to fix it one way or another because in big away games, they don't seem to play as good as the other team. It's one thing losing matches, right? And United do lose big matches away from home, but I'm watching them get outplayed by the other team. Brighton, I think, today outplayed them in terms of footballing standpoint. I think United equally had chances and probably deserved the point. But the footballing-wise, I thought Brighton were a better team. Equally, when they went to Newcastle, they got outplayed. They got outplayed at Sevilla as well in Europa League. Ten Hag needs to fix that. Because I think for the majority of the season, for 70 to 80% of games, United are decent. But I feel like in big away games, when the pressure mounts, they do struggle a little bit. That's what I'm going to say. RD12, welcome to the chat as always, my friend. Hold that. Guess who he supports, man? Arsenal fan as always. Clowning Manchester United. Hold the phone. Mac Allister's got a penalty kick. Look, like I said, I was ready to start the stream off saying, you know what? For a 0-0, that was quite entertaining. But I had to rip all that up because Brighton scored to win 1-0, man. I had to change everything. I had the whole stream set up as Brighton 0-0 Man United. I made the description, I made the tags, everything. And I just had to change it right now to go, hang on a minute, Brighton have just scored to win 1-0. And what a penalty as well, man. Congratulations. It's mathematically impossible for Man United to finish above Arsenal, but they have the energy drink cup. You would expect that to give them energy, right? Well, okay, so now it is, according to RD12, it's now mathematically impossible for United to finish above Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal most likely going to finish second unless Newcastle finish above Arsenal. I still think United will get top four regardless, though. Well, here's the other question, right? Arsenal probably aren't going to win the league. So who's had the better season, United or Arsenal? If United don't win the FA Cup, I'm still going to say Arsenal. You know why? If United win the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, I'll say Manchester United. But if United don't win the FA Cup, I will say Arsenal because although United have won the Carabao Cup, for me, the Carabao Cup isn't a prestigious trophy. I know it's a major trophy, but I don't view it in that standpoint. I don't view it anywhere near the Premier League, Champions League, of course, and even anywhere near the FA Cup. Nowhere near in that regard. But I say Arsenal had a better season than Manchester United purely because Arsenal's really taken that step up. Now, don't get me wrong. Eric Ten Hag's done wonders at Manchester United. And for his first season, he's done a brilliant job. I think even the most optimistic United fans would not have expected them to be this comfortably in the top four under their first season with Eric Ten Hag. They were expecting to start a process. But I feel like United still got ways to improve. Like, again, today, away from home in big matches, struggling. They're struggling to really assert themselves. They get chances, and they do because the spine of their team's solid. And they've got an outball in Fernandes and Rashford who can combine in a split second and get goals. But I think on the most part, on the balance of play, they do get outplayed in big away games. I can't be the only one that's seeing that. Let me know in the live chat if you agree with me. That's just my thoughts. I feel like United in big games get outplayed a little bit. But one thing I do want to touch upon is Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw had a brilliant game, and he's filling in at centre-back, and he's done a brilliant job on the most part playing there. Of course, that's not his natural position. He's usually a left-back. Why are you jumping like this, brother? Like, bro, this ain't volleyball, this ain't basketball. Come on, man. Like, you're an established player. You know, in the world of VAR, they're going to call it, they call handballs for the softest contact. So he's got to know better than that to jump out with his hands flailing around like that, man. And it is a penalty. It is. To be fair, I think on the most part, the referee did a good job. I thought, to be fair, Mitoma was diving a lot. Like, there was none that were really penalties. However, I did think the first one, when Aaron Wan-Bissaka got a little touch on him, was potentially a penalty. I'm not too sure because we're looking at it both ways. I think he did get a slight nick on it. Wasn't given, but the penalty end definitely was. And look, if you keep knocking on the door, eventually you will score, man. And that's exactly what Brighton did. While you cannot make that up, exactly, man, you cannot one bit. We are getting Mac Allister up, brother. Yes. So Liverpool target is Alexis Mac Allister and someone. He'd be a brilliant signing for Liverpool, genuinely. I've said that. I think he's a really top player, man. How Brighton spawn these signings out of nowhere is beyond me. Like, their scouting network is unbelievable, genuinely unbelievable. They spawn these players out of nowhere. Like, Cisco's coming as well. He's been quality. And I'm thinking, bro, where's it? I've never heard this Donny before they sign him. And now they look like world beaters. So it's absolutely crazy, man. Brighton are a team that's hard to dislike. Yeah, look, exactly, RD12. 100% agree with you there because for multiple reasons. One, I feel like they do football the right way, as in they don't splash the cash. They like to use their scouting network. They like to use their academy, homegrown players, and build kind of like a project, build from the grassroots, the foundations. B, under De Zerbi, they're playing beautiful football. Here's the point, though, and Arsenal fans probably don't want to hear this. I'm an Arsenal fan myself, right? A lot of people bigged up Arteta, and rightly so. It's good to big up Mikel Arteta, but it's taken him 2.5 to 3 years to play good football at Arsenal. It's taken De Zerbi 2 months. Let's be real about it right now, yeah? The football Brighton are playing under De Zerbi, I'm not saying it's as good as Arsenal this season, but it's quality, man. Like, it's really good football. And it's taken De Zerbi 2 months to implement that. And I'm not buying this. He's got better players than Arteta because Lewis Dunk is playing pass out the back football. Like, I don't want to hear any of that. Any of this stuff talking about how De Zerbi's got a better squad than Arteta inherited. It's taken after 2 years to implement it. De Zerbi's taken like 2 months. This man needs his respect, bro. This man needs his flowers. De Zerbi's done an absolutely brilliant job at Brighton. And he might get a move on, to a top club. Whether he takes or not, I'm not sure. I think Daniel Levy and Tottenham should tempt him. Genuinely, I think Daniel Levy and Tottenham should tempt De Zerbi. Go in for it, man. Test the waters with a bid. If Brighton back it down, they back it down. They want to keep De Zerbi, of course, they want to take that next step. And I have said if Brighton do want to take that next step on consistently fighting for Europe and potentially fighting for titles, they've got to retain their best assets. Their best assets being their best manager and their best players in the Caicedos and Mac Allisters. It looks like Mac Allister is out the door to Liverpool potentially or another team, but you got to look to keep your best assets, man. Because you can only go so far if you keep taking a step back, selling your best players. You get what I mean? I feel like that's been the story of Brighton so far. If they can retain Caicedo, retain Mac Allister, retain Evan Ferguson, etc., retain Mitoma, they're taking the jump. And look, European football will be brilliant. They deserve it. I'm a massive fan of Brighton football. I'm a massive fan of everything about that club. The way it's run, the players, the system. I enjoy watching Brighton play football. And for me, from a football purist standpoint, they're a very enjoyable team to watch. And I give them all the credit in the world. I thought Solly March was taking it for a second. I was like, oh no, this guy's going to sky it again, but Mac Allister took it. Well, yeah, I think if Solly March took it, that would have been really ballsy from him, given that he did sky the penalty that lost Brighton the FA Cup semi-final against Manchester United. But I think overall the right choice was Mac Allister, man. Like, it has to be. The brother's proven that he could bag goals, Mac Allister, man. And from the spot, like, he's been in a World Cup final for Argentina. Like, if there's any player in the Brighton squad that's used to the pressure moments, is Alexis Mac Allister, having played in the World Cup final, starting in the World Cup final as well. So yeah, brilliant penalty as well. Top class penalty, man. I've got hope that Brighton could do something against City at this place. Look, odds 12. This is a good point, right? I want to speak about this. I'm happy you brought this up, actually, because I was actually thinking this as well. When Man City goes to play Brighton, what will the score be? Genuinely, I think Man City beat Brighton. The only reason is because Man City love teams that try and play football against them. They absolutely love it because they know in a football game, they'll beat any team on planet Earth. Look, when Arsenal tried to play football against Man City, we got destroyed. We got played out of the park. And this is Arsenal we're talking about, the second best team in England. If Brighton go and try and play football against Man City, play out the back, they'll get destroyed as well. I think I'd rather see teams go to Man City and shut up shop, play a back five, park the bus, Sam Allardyce football, for example, than a team that goes out to try and play them at their own game. So I think if you try and play Man City your own game, if you try and fight fire with fire, you're going to fail against Man City because they're better than you at it. Do you get what I mean? So I see what you're saying, because Brighton look good, that you probably think they'll get something against Man City, and they genuinely could. But if I just look at the both teams, I look at the style of play, Brighton's style of play suits Man City. And look, anything can happen, of course, but I think Man City would favour playing a team like Brighton than a team like maybe Newcastle, for example, that's a bit more dogged, a bit more defensively astute, if you get what I mean. But that's just my thoughts there, and even Brighton to an extent. But yeah, Brighton, massive respect to them. The way they play football is brilliant. They don't take any game lightly, and they don't go to any team with fear. I expect them to play Man City. I expect them to play on the front foot. I expect them to go to the Emirates and play on the front foot, because they don't take any game for granted. They don't retreat into their shell. And I have to respect any team for that, man. Every team that does that. I don't like Brighton because I'm a Palace fan, but they are a great team, and congrats to them for winning the game. Yeah, look, as an opposing fan sometimes, like, for example, I don't like Tottenham, I don't like Manchester United, but I give credit where credit's due. For example, Erik ten Hag, I think he's done an absolutely fantastic job at Manchester United this season. Absolutely fantastic. I think what he's done for that team, the fact that he's able to turn around what for me was a sinking ship at Manchester United under all the managers previous, Ralf Rangnick, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, David Moyes, all the managers that successed Sir Alex Ferguson, not one of them have I ever said, really, I can see being a Manchester United manager. Erik ten Hag is the first manager where genuinely I can see him being a Manchester United manager for the long term. A sustainable project I can see being built. And that's the biggest credit for me, because for a team that's struggled to replace their best ever manager, their greatest ever manager in Sir Alex Ferguson, I think step one is finding a manager that fits, and find a manager that the whole fan base can get behind. Because when they brought in Mourinho, when they brought in Ralf Rangnick, when they brought in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Louis van Gaal, David Moyes, etc., the fan base was always divided. Some people liked it, some people hated it. I feel like with Erik ten Hag, the whole Manchester United fan base have faith in the man, and that's the main thing. If the fan base is united in Erik ten Hag, he can start to push the shit forward and start to get Manchester United's trajectory back on the up again. So regardless of the trophies they've won, and he has won the Carabao Cup, and potentially he's in the FA Cup final, could win that as well. That's the side thing for me. The main thing is, for Manchester United, is they look like they've got a team that's building. They looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel again. That's the main thing. So I have to credit Erik ten Hag for that 100%. He's done a brilliant job. Crazy ending. Yeah, man, absolutely crazy. Mark Goldbridge is pissed. I can imagine, man. I can imagine. Pissed with Luke Shaw, I'm guessing, because I don't know what he was doing. I have no clue what that man was doing, jumping up, flailing his arms like this, man. It's schoolboy defending. Manchester United will still get top four, just a bad night. Agree. I don't think top four changes. I still think it's United, Newcastle, Arsenal, City, etc. But Liverpool fans, the doors cracked a little bit more open. I know a lot of Liverpool fans are still expecting their team to get top four. I think it's locked up, but just a smidgen of hope. Boot your foot right through there and try and get in. Because Liverpool building momentum right now, and I expect them to win a lot more games going forward because of the momentum they're built up. So let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. It just makes it more interesting. If Arsenal beat Newcastle on Sunday, it blows it wide open, man. Wide open. Either side could have won this, but Brighton was better on the day. United's still in good shape for top four. This was their toughest remaining match. Jeff hit the nail on the head. Hit the nail on the head right here, man. I said exactly the same thing. On paper, a draw probably would have been a fair result. But equally, if either team won 1-0, I'd still say that's a fair result. I feel like Brighton played the better football. And I think Brighton were the team that implemented and kind of imposed themselves on the game more. But United always look dangerous on that counter-attack. And they do, man. Like, Rashford's electric. Bruno Fernandes can find him with his eyes closed. Their partnership, their chemistry is like this, man. Like, joined up. But Brighton, I think, overall played the better football. That's just my opinion on it. And I think from a football purist standpoint, Brighton won, I think, that was deservedly so. They were the one knocking on the door. They were the one pushing harder. Although United did have chances on the counter, I think on a balance of play, Brighton generated more chances. But either way, it was a very entertaining match. A very entertaining 1-0 game. Brighton was a better team overall of the night. More possession, more shots. Exactly. There we go. And regardless of the possessions and shots, the football they were playing as well, I think was better than United. And it's my point. I feel like in big away games, Manchester United, they're not only getting beat. Getting beat is one thing, right? Every team's going to lose football matches. It's going to happen. Very rarely go invincible. Arsenal's the last team to do that in 2004. But it's the way you lose matches. I feel like United are going to big away games. And Brighton isn't necessarily a massive away game. But you know what I mean? Like a big away game against a good team. And they're getting thoroughly outplayed. That's the problem for me. I feel like in 70 to 80% of matches, United are good. They'll beat every team at home, basically. Like, or at least they've got the possibility to do so. They'll win a lot of the away games against Nottingham Forest, the Wolves, etc. Whenever they come up against a half-decent team away from home, they look the worst team. And that's worrying for me because you're Manchester United. I understand it's a project under Everton. I understand you're meant to get better, but Manchester United are the biggest club in England. You have to impose yourself on the game. You have to be the team to take it to the other team. You know what I mean? Take the game to the other team. Whereas I feel like United are playing a bit too passive at times in away games, in big away games especially. They got overrun by Newcastle. Today, obviously, they were potentially could have got a point, but Brighton on the balance of play, I think, played the better football. Sevilla completely outplayed them in that second leg in Spain. Newcastle as well did well. Man City outplayed them on 1-6-3. So you're looking at it and you're thinking, Liverpool outplayed them as well. In big away games, Manchester United look the worst team, and that's worrying for me. That's where they need to improve in, because it's one thing beating the teams around you and beating the teams you're expected to win. Of course, that's a brilliant job, and a lot of managers don't get the credit they deserve those games, because every game's tough in the Premier League. I 100% agree. But when I look at Manchester United, they look weak and passive in the away games. Even when they played Tottenham Hotspur, right? 2-0 up, comfortable, a struggling Tottenham team, they still managed to draw that game 2-2, and they looked second best in that second half, when really they should have wrapped up in that first half. So I look at it and I'm saying to myself, where they need to improve. In big away games, Erik ten Hag needs to improve this Manchester United team. That's just my thoughts on it personally. Of course, it's his first season. I'm sure even the most optimistic Manchester United fans never expected them to jump this much in their first season under Erik ten Hag. So I give the man faith, and I think he's deserved the faith. And I think he deserves the back. And I think for the first time in a long time, Manchester United are pushing consistently in the right direction, which is the main thing, because all the previous managers I've had, I've always said, I can't see them really moving forward consistently. They move up and then down again. Do you get what I mean? Whereas I feel like under Erik ten Hag, we're seeing a good team move forward, and they're getting better and better, and they will get better. I think certain players will improve as well. And if they back him in the summer and get a proper striker and a proper goalkeeper, I can't see why Manchester United don't progress and take that next step to potentially title challenging until April rather than until February. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, I think overall this game, Brighton were the better team and they played well. But United, I think that they've done well this season overall. I think they'll be happy overall, and I think that there's a lot of progression. They've got an FA Cup final game to play as well against Man City. Could stop Man City winning the treble. There's still a lot to play for, but I think they will get top 4 this season. And it's overall decent season, very decent season. I like to see Brighton hold their top players, but they won't. Exactly my point. If Brighton want to take that next step, right, and really start challenging for Europe consistently, you need to retain your assets. Case in point, remember when Southampton were doing so well, but they fell off? It's because they lost all their best players, the Van Dijks, etc. You know what I mean? Sadio Mane's. They moved on to Liverpool and teams like that. Southampton became a feeder club. Brighton can't have that same fate. I know their scouting network is brilliant. I know their academy is brilliant. I know they put a lot of faith in their young players, and it's brilliant to see. I commend them a lot for it. Evan Ferguson coming through the ranks, signing players like Mitoma, Mac Allister, Caicedo, even Enciso. Never heard them in my life before they came to Brighton, but I've done absolutely brilliantly. But if you want to take that next step, you have to keep your best players. I think Brighton not selling Caicedo, even though 70 million is a lot of money in January, was a statement thing. I don't think it was necessarily them thinking the money wasn't enough, because I think they know 70 million for Caicedo is a lot of money. It would have been Brighton's record transfer sale. I think they didn't want to sell him because they wanted to lay down a marker that we're not going to be a selling club. It looks like they're resigned to losing Mac Allister in the summer. Liverpool potentially could get him. But you got to overall keep your assets if you're Brighton. Because if you want to take that next step, and I believe they can, I think De Zerbi's done a brilliant job. I said at the top of the stream, it took Arteta 3 years to get Arsenal to start playing good football. It's taken De Zerbi 2 months. The man's a top manager, bro. And they'll be flown around for him. So you got to keep your top players and your top manager if you're Brighton. You keep that up. You keep building. You add players. You keep the faith. And Brighton will keep getting better, man. Keep moving forward. And I have a lot of faith in them, man. I think a lot of the football has a lot of respect for Brighton as well, because they approach the game brilliantly. They don't splash the money. They don't splash the cash. They don't play defensive football. They play on the front foot. They play entertaining football. And they promote the academy. And it's everything that you want to see. It's, from football purist standpoint, it's brilliant, man. It's brilliant. De Gea was amazing tonight. Got hurt 4 minutes in and still wanted to stay in. Well, yeah, this is the thing. Mitoma had a chance after 4 minutes and he smacked De Gea in the face. For me, I'm saying square the ball, bro. Like, Mitoma, you got to square the ball there, man. You got to be more unselfish. But you're right. This is the thing with De Gea, right? Long term, I don't think he's the manager. He's a player for United. I know he's going to get a contract extension. Regardless of his age, I don't think he's good enough for Manchester United. That's just my viewpoint on it. I think with the ball at his feet, he's not good enough. I think if you want to take that next step and be a top team, you need a goalkeeper who's comfortable with the ball at his feet. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how good you are at saving the ball. You need to be good with the ball at your feet nowadays. And I don't think De Gea is that one bit. So I look at it and I think you can get a better keeper. I'm looking at the AC Milan keeper. I've got the AC Milan shirt on, Magnon. Why not look at him? I think he'd be a really good keeper for Manchester United. You got to look at a top strike as well, because Anthony Martial, apart from the one chance he got, wasn't good enough today. And I think a lot of Man United fans got a lot of respect for Martial. A lot of Man United fans rep Martial. But for me, I don't think he's good enough. Ever since he moved from Monaco, he had maybe the first season was good, but since then he didn't take that next step up. Rashford has taken that next step up, but he needs someone to accompany him. You need another player, because if Rashford's not firing, the goals don't come from anywhere else. Weghorst is a good plan B striker, but he shouldn't start for you. So for me, if you're Manchester United, Harry Kane, Mike Maignan in the summer. That's it. You don't need to buy 4, 5, 6 players. Sign 2 top players, a top goalkeeper and a world-class striker. You're Manchester United, you're the biggest club in England. Don't tell me you can't do it. Don't tell me you ain't got the funds to do it, bro. You just splashed 70 million on Casemiro and 95 million on Anthony. You tell me you can't buy a world-class keeper for 60, 70 million and a world-class striker for 100 million. Come on now. The problem isn't United haven't spent money. The problem is United have spent the money poorly, which is a joke because they're the biggest club in England. They can attract any player they want. Really, let's be real about it. United, any player would dream of going to Manchester United. So you look at it and you're thinking, buy a top keeper, buy a top striker. And I don't see why Manchester United can't challenge next season. Genuinely, I can't, because that can be the difference, right? You can have 11 good players, but having that one superstar in that team, that one X-factor player can lift you up, bro. Slot Harry Kane, that Manchester United team, they're title challenging. I promise you that, man. I absolutely promise you. Slot Mike Manuel in that team. I don't care the saves that De Gea makes. With the ball at his feet, he's suspect, and he still spills the ball at times. And United are challenging. So for me, stop all this messing about. You've got a great manager in there, Eric Ten Hag. Back him and buy the right players for once, man. So I feel like United's hit ratio in the transfer market is poor, man. It's really subpar. De Zerbi's done a great job at Brighton. Agree, man. Brilliant job. Absolutely brilliant job, man. I think if he was there from the start, he'd be of course manager of the season. There's a lot of managers that have done a brilliant job this season. I have to shout them out. And I will do more when I wrap up the season towards the end, of course. But De Zerbi, Unai Emery's done a brilliant job as well. Thomas Franks have done a really underrated job. Arteta, of course. Eddie Howe. Like Gary O'Neill since he's come to Bournemouth as well. Some managers done a really brilliant job in there. Genuinely a really top job. Manchester City can afford to drop points, and that's only if Arsenal win out, which I don't think will happen anyway. Yeah, I think the title's over for Arsenal, I can't lie. Us beating Newcastle will be good, obviously, because it keeps us in the running, but I can't see City dropping points, genuinely. And even if they lose a game, they're still safe. Even if they draw 2 games, they're safe. And that's obviously depending on Arsenal winning every game. So for me, title's over, but we gave it a good fight. It is what it is, man. I've spoken enough about Arsenal bottling the league, to be honest. Arsenal playing home against Brighton on the 14th should be a good game. Should be a really good game. Of course, I'll be reviewing it on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and turn on bell notifications for football-related content. You don't want to miss it. Mr. Consistent, man, on this channel. Football reactions after pretty much every Prem game. Saturday, double header. Man City versus Leeds United, 5 p.m. the stream starts straight after the game. Then Liverpool versus Brentford, 7:30 p.m. the stream starts straight after the game. Then on Sunday, another double header. Newcastle versus Arsenal stream starts at 6:30 p.m. And then West Ham versus Manchester United, I believe the game is, stream starting at 9 p.m. That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. Football-related content on this channel. Subscribe, turn on bell notifications. You do not want to miss it. Rico, appreciate joining the stream as always, my friend. Penalty, for me it was, man. And look, they were saying that it was like potentially Matone was diving a lot during the game, and I think a lot of times there was potential penalties that weren't given, and I think a lot of them were rightly not given. I think overall the ref had a good game, but that one was just clear penalty. Luke Shaw jumps with his arms in the air. You can say what you want about the handball rule. I'm not going to necessarily here to discuss whether certain things should be a handball or shouldn't be a handball. In the current rule book, in the current guidelines, he jumps with his hands up. I've seen softer penalties given. It's a penalty all day, every day, man. Yes, Rico, it was a handball on Shaw. Cheers, mate. Yeah, exactly. It was a handball. Play Brighton Monday. We're not getting anything there. Brighton on a roll. I mean, look, Brighton lost at the City ground. It's not Forest. So never count your things out against Brighton. Never count yourself out. Obviously, Brighton play Everton, right, on Monday. Everton need the points. It's got to the stage, right, where Everton need points, man. Like, it's not even a case of they can afford to slip up anymore. I was saying if they play well in their home games, they'll survive. But it's got to the stage where they need to bank away games as well. It'll be a tough game going to Brighton. But we know what they're going to do. Everton's going to sit back, drop all men behind the ball, and Brighton's going to try to attack them. And look, if Everton can nick a goal on the counter, who knows, man? How Everton stay up personally, it'll be a massive scalp to go down. Massive, massive scalp. Even the Invincibles were lucky not to lose. Exactly. And look, not many people know this, right? I know this obviously because I'm an Arsenal fan, and a lot of people that are non-Arsenal fans but really interested in football know this as well. The Invincibles didn't just win the season getting 100 points. They drew a hell of a lot of matches. 126 and drew 12. Drew 12 matches. That tells me, right, that the Invincibles didn't win every game. The Invincibles they converted all the losses to draws. Like, nowadays, right, if this Arsenal team went invincible and 126 and drew 12, they wouldn't win the league. Man City would get more points than them. So it just goes to show that going invincible is tough, man. It's very tough because nowadays it's even harder because you can go invincible and still not win the league. You got to convert draws to wins nowadays. Like, for example, Arsenal going to Anfield and got a point. Everyone was saying, oh, that's a good point. Others were saying, no, it's a terrible point. You need to win. Also go Newcastle on Sunday, who are third in the table / fourth in the table. In any other season, going away to the team that's third in the table and getting a point is a brilliant result. Now, Arsenal need to beat Newcastle away on Sunday. It just goes to show you how the levels that we've got to under Klopp and Guardiola, where draws are no longer good results for the majority of games. So you're looking and you're thinking, You're right, the Invincibles were lucky not to lose, but even that's not enough nowadays. Wrong decisions, etc. Yeah, I agree with you. Brighton City, Wolves, and Bournemouth. Some tough games, man. I look at City game at home, Bournemouth game at home. You got to look to get some points against Brighton and City because teams around you can pick up points, man. You don't want to be a team that relies on others to drop points. You always want to have it in your hands. And right now, Everton do have it in their hands, thankfully for them. But it can all change, man. It can all change. Premier without Everton isn't right. Would 35 points be enough? I mean, if I look at the Premier League table, right? Premier League table. We're looking at a stage where there's 34/33 matches played. 34 for all the teams towards bottom. So they've got 4 matches left. And Everton sit on 29 points. So if they win 2 of those matches, they'll be up to 35 points. I think it would be enough. I think 2 wins out of the last 4 would be enough. But it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. Wolves and Bournemouth, Everton need to win those 2 games. Yes. But you don't want to get to a stage where you've lost your next 2, then you have to win the next 2. Do you get what I mean? You don't want to get to a stage where you've lost to Brighton, and lost to Man City, where you now have to beat Bournemouth and Wolves on the final 2 days. Because then it becomes really squeaky bum time for Everton. Only away matches remaining from United are West Ham and Bournemouth. Should win those, may not, but should. Yeah, United are safe, man. This is just, for me, I think United getting top 4 regardless of this result. I'm just worried looking at them and the fact that they got outplayed again in a big away game. Like, I expected Brighton to play better football, and this wasn't surprising to me. I thought a draw would happen because I rate United's counter-attacking game, and I think they've got an outball. And I think I think Brighton playing onto them would have actually suited United to play the outball. But I do think overall United do struggle a bit in big away games. I do have to be honest about it. Relax, Man United, you will get top 4. Exactly, man, you'll get top 4. Hey, brother, my new profile, Alexis Mac Allister. Well, there we go, man. There we go. Probably going to Liverpool. Wolves, Bournemouth beat us twice this week. Aggregate 7-1. Well, that's the thing, man. That's the thing. Man United fans seem to always overreact to a loss. Well, they do, right? And look, I'm not one to say fans shouldn't overreact to losses or should overreact to losses because every fan will treat different games differently and you can overthink it, underthink it, etc. From what I do have to say is, yeah, I'm looking at this game and I'm seeing again another predictable United performance. That's the only thing for me. Defend decently. I don't think they defended terribly despite their 2 main centre-backs missing. But again, they were outplayed and they were relying on their counter-attacking game. They were relying on Bruno Fernandes and Rashford to come up with some brilliance, to connect and get a goal from it. Whereas the actual play through the lines wasn't necessarily brilliant. They were capitalising on Brighton mistakes at the back from playing out the back and counter-attacking stuff. And it's very predictable for Manchester United. I feel like for a team that is United, for the team that is the best or the biggest club in England, they should be looking to put themselves on the front foot more and should be looking to impose themselves on the other team. I look at Brighton, right? Brighton a few years ago weren't even in the Premier League, and now they're outplaying Manchester United. Like, it's one thing losing the game. United could have lost this game 1-0, but if they lost this game 1-0, going for tit for tat with Brighton in terms of footballing ability, dominating the ball, taking the ascendancy, and they lost to Brighton because Brighton hit them on the counter-attack, I'd say it is what it is, but they lost this game and they got outplayed. Like, I'm not going to say that a draw wouldn't have been a fair result because I think United had enough chance on the counter-attack, but that's exactly it. It was the counter-attack, man. So I'm thinking, United, they do need to fix up their way of performances against big teams or against better teams than them or even half-decent teams. There's a stat that shows, I haven't seen it, but I guarantee United's performances against teams in the top half of the table, away performances, I guarantee they've struggled. I guarantee it, man. It'll be great to play Everton, but I would rather them stay in the Prem. Yeah, that's the thing. Said must chill. Well, that's the thing. Said, Goldbridge, they'd all lose their heads, Flex, etc. It's one of those things, man. Like, obviously, you're still going to make top 4. You've got an FA Cup final coming up. Everton has done a brilliant job. The season, I feel like, is winding down to an end. I think the United players are burning out a little bit. I think the losing to Sevilla in Europa League kind of knocked the stuffing out of them a little bit, but they'll be fine, man. Guys, you have to spam a like. Appreciate it, Monsieur Arteta. Subscribe. Hey, you heard the man. You heard the man. Subscribe. Does anyone need a link, bro? What are you on about, man? Yeah, exactly, bro. What? Stop spamming the chat, man. Stop spamming the chat. Bloody hell, man. The chat is getting absolutely spammed. Yes. Okay, bro. I'm not even going to look at that anymore. My man's just spamming the chat. Bloody hell. Okay. So, yeah, back to the game. Let me talk about Brighton a little bit, right? So, where do I expect Brighton to go next season? Because it's one thing what they've done this season, right? But taking a step up to next season, that's a whole nother story. Because I'm looking at Brighton, right? And I'm thinking, I see a style of football there. And I see a sustainability under Roberto De Zerbi. The only question mark for me is, can they keep him? Can they keep De Zerbi? Can they keep Caicedo? Can they keep Mitoma? Because if they keep their top players, they make the jump next season. I have no doubt about it. The football's there. The quality's there. They're only going to get more. They're only going to get better. with European football, they can sign some top players. They don't have to rely on their scouting network, signing players from all over the world. Brighton can make the next step, and there's a lot. I have a lot of faith in them. Genuinely, I have a lot of faith in Brighton in their upwards momentum and upwards trajectory. But the thing is, right, the Premier League is so impossible to predict because there's so many good teams. Like West Ham last year, right? Who would have expected them to have the fall off they've had this season? No one. Genuinely, no one. Then you're looking at other teams, right, that have got better. Aston Villa and Unai Emery taking a massive step. If they had Unai Emery from the start of the season, they could be fighting for Champions League. Do you get what I mean? Newcastle would expect them to go on and take the next step. So I'm looking at, I'm thinking, this is massive, man. Like this is massive for Brighton. Can they take that next step? That's what we got to see. That's what we got to see. And they've got the quality to do so. Retain your assets, and I don't see why not. Are Arsenal win the league? Unfortunately, not, my friend. I hope so. That's my team, but I can't see it, bro. I can't see it. Shout out to Napoli, who won Serie A after 33 years. Yes, shout out to Napoli winning the Serie A for the first time until they had Maradona, I believe, a good 33 years. Yeah, 33 years ago, exactly. Big up them, man. I think certain players, Kvaradona, Kvichavela, however you say his name, Osimhen were brilliant. I think that young Japanese centre-back at the back was brilliant as well. Genuinely, top quality team, man. Top quality team. I would love to see them progress in the Europa League, Champions League, but that would have been knocking out, obviously, AC Milan. But yeah, I think they've done absolutely brilliantly, man. Absolutely brilliantly. Who's been in the chat? Stop it, bro. It's you, my friend. It's you. But I appreciate talking in the live chat as always, Monsieur Arteta. I appreciate it, man. Alexis Mac Allister is going to be one of us, bro. Yeah, Jordan, you said, bro. Don't worry. We heard you the first 3 times. Yeah, it'll be a brilliant signing as well. Brilliant signing, man. Evening. Appreciate you on the stream as always, Malia. Mitoma. Mitoma. Another great game. But Aaron Wan-Bissaka's done well. And I've always said this. In terms of one-on-one defending, Wan-Bissaka's one of the best in the league. One of the best in the world. In terms of one-on-one, just pure defending. He's brilliant, man. Like, genuinely very, very good. The thing with Wan-Bissaka is, though, I think in team defense, he's not great. And going forward, obviously, he struggles. But I think he's a decent one-on-one defender, man. Very, very good. Mitoma to Arsenal, I can't see it personally. I'd love it to happen, but the thing is, right, we just signed Trossard, and Brighton let go of Trossard because they knew Mitoma was going to take that position at left wing, and they knew that Evan Ferguson was coming up to take that position at striker. So they were very smart letting go of Trossard, man. Obviously, he had a full net with De Zerbi as well, and I think he kind of saw the writing on the wall there, where if he was not going to start games, he'd rather not start games for Arsenal and not start games for Brighton. Do you get what I mean? But I'm happy with the way it worked. I think Trossard's been a brilliant signing for Arsenal. But this is the thing, the left wing market is so good, man. So stacked. You got my boy Rafael Leao on the back of my shirt. You got Kvara. You got players like Trossard, as I just mentioned. You got Mitoma as well in there. Like, the left wing market is stacked, man. Genuinely, it's stacked. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, boy, like, who can you sign from there that is so good? It's so, like, the options are limitless. Genuinely limitless at left wing, man. How well has Gary Neville done? What's going on? There we go, man. There's so much done a brilliant job. Gary Neville at Bournemouth, massive credit to him, man. Done absolutely brilliantly. Absolutely brilliantly indeed. So I'm looking at, I'm thinking, right, if Gary O'Neill can keep Bournemouth up, it just goes to show the manager makes a massive difference, right? And Gary O'Neill is his first job. It was a risk keeping him, man. A lot of teams, they got a little bit cold feet and they sacked their manager. Patrick Vieira got sacked by Palace, etc. Obviously, you saw Leeds have sacked Javi Garcia, the guy that they brought in to try and save them. Now sacked him for Sam Allardyce, etc. Teams are sacking their manager because they want to stay in the division. They're getting cold feet. Bournemouth obviously did that. But they brought in Gary O'Neill, obviously, from the days of the previous manager they had. I believe it's Scott Parker at the helm. And he's done really well. It's his first job. I genuinely thought they were doomed. I thought he didn't have the expertise to keep them in the Premier League. But what a good job he's done, man. And I think the football they play is brilliantly. And they haven't just won the games they've expected to win. They were this close to getting a point against Arsenal. They beat Liverpool. They beat Tottenham. Brilliant job from Bournemouth, man. Massive, massive credit to them. Bro, Monsieur Arteta, I can't lie, bro. You need to stop chatting. You need to stop typing so much in the chat, my friend, bro. Genuinely, you need to stop, man. Don't stop getting on the other people in the live chat, man. Stop getting into other people in the live chat, please. Let people say what they want to say. This is what I want to see from Liverpool. Go after play that playing. Bro, Jordan, how many times are you going to say that Liverpool get Mac Allister, bro? Is the one, look, you guys got Trossard, Everton got Neil Maupay. Yeah, Maupay's crap, though. Let's be real about it. Trossard's a good signing, but yeah, Mac Allister is a really good signing. He looks like he wants to leave Brighton because he wants to take that next step up in his career, which fair enough. Every player's entitled to say that. Brighton obviously look resigned to lose him, unfortunately, but it's one of those things. Yeah, exactly, bro. Tommy's saying the right thing, man. Come on, Monsieur Arteta, this is the first time I've seen you around this channel, bro. Please don't have a bad reputation, man. You should do match day reviews, brother. I always do match day reviews. I know it's your first time on the channel, but yeah, every game I'm reviewing on this channel, don't worry about it. Or player ratings. Yeah, I do that for Arsenal games mostly. I don't really do it for other teams, to be completely honest. But always Arsenal games I do player ratings. Don't worry about that. Speaking of managers, I don't think Big Sam can save Leeds. He could play a 5-5 and they would still leak goals. Where's the thing, right? Sam Allardyce has not been in management for a while now. The last time he managed, I believe, was West Bromwich Albion, right? And I look and I think, like, 4 games to save them. Obviously, he's going to say yes because he wants to manage in the Premier League. I'm sure Leeds will give him a massive bonus if he keeps them there. I mean, it's for 4 games, right? I would take the Leeds job for 4 games. It's not like he's a young man just looking to make his way. Like, Big Sam Allardyce are taking him out of retirement for 4 games. He's happy, bro. He's happy. So I'm looking, I'm thinking it's going to be very tough. They've got tough fixtures. Exactly, Tommy. They've got very tough fixtures coming up. So I'm looking, I'm thinking it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. But look, anything can happen. Anything can happen. You got to keep the faith. And I'd love for them to get anything against Man City, even a point. Of course, I'll be reviewing that game on this channel. 5 p.m. the stream will start. Cannot wait for it. Straight after the game's finished. But let's see, man. Is Lampard unemployable going forward? Unemployable by Premier League team, 100% for now. He just needs to go back to League One and Championship and go from there. That's the main thing, right? That's the main thing. Because a lot of managers can go into the Premier League too early and it can affect their confidence. And I feel like it shouldn't. For example, when Unai Emery was at Arsenal, right? Unai Emery's a top manager. He managed brilliant teams. Sevilla, he won them the Europa League. Managed PSG. He's gone to Arsenal. He didn't really do very well. Let's be honest about it. He lost the dressing room a little bit. And then obviously he's left. He's gone back to Spain, back to his roots. And now he's gone back to Aston Villa, done a brilliant job. Frank Lampard shouldn't go to another Premier League team. I don't care who calls him. If it's Southampton don't stay in the Premier League. But you know what I mean? If Leeds call him, for example, if they stay in the Premier League, don't go. Go to Championship, go to League One if you have to. It'll hurt your pride, it'll hurt your ego going from Premier League to take that step down, but build your confidence up again, man. Trust me, that's the main thing. He's still a young guy. I personally don't think he'll ever be a top manager. That's just my thoughts on it. I don't think he ever will be. I don't see that tactical ability from him. I don't see that man management style from him that I see from other managers. But a lot can change. A lot can change, trust me. And he's unemployable in the Premier League for now, but a team will take a chance in 10 years or so time if he does well in the Championship. I mean, look at Michael Carrick. He's done a brilliant job in the Championship. Vincent Kompany as well. Took over a Championship team and now he's organically got them to the Premier. Now he's got his opportunity to manage in the Premier League. So credit to them. I think Lampard needs to do a similar thing. Lampard, Gerrard, etc. Go to the Championship, etc. It'll hurt your pride. It will hurt your ego taking a step down. But do it. Do it, man. If you want to stay in management and not be a pundit or anything else, you got to do it, man. Because you're not getting employed by another Premier League team. It'll be the worst decision that team makes. I'm going to chill now. Sorry, no problem, Mr. Arteta. I appreciate you chilling out with the live chat comments. Of course, feel free to comment. I appreciate everyone's comments that come through. But yeah, spam is unappreciated just because I want to get through everyone's comments. And I'm already a little bit lagging behind some comments that have just come in now. Hey man, appreciate you on the stream as always. NH, hope you're doing well. Legend of a player, awful manager. See, that's the thing. And look, this is what's it called? A unpopular opinion, right? But players like Gerrard and Lampard becoming managers, I feel like they haven't got the tactical ability that other managers have got because their quality was so good. Now, let me explain before anyone jumps to conclusions about what I'm saying, right? Arteta is a brilliant manager for Arsenal. Arteta, I think we can all agree, was nowhere near the player Gerrard and Lampard was. Nowhere near. So why did Arteta start for Arsenal and start for Everton and play all those games? Because he was in the team because of his football knowledge and football IQ, right? That's why he was in the team. Gerrard's in the team. Of course, he understands football. I'm not disregarding that one bit, but he's also in the team because he can play football. Like, a brother is wicked at football. Like, his shooting's good, his passing's good, his defending's good. In terms of pure footballing ability, he's absolutely brilliant. He's out of this world. But then I look and I think, does he have that same football knowledge and that tactical ability? The reason Arteta was able to start for Arsenal, one of the best teams around, was because of his footballing knowledge, not necessarily his ability. Because for all ends up, his ability would get beaten by other players on the pitch. Cazorla's more gifted than him. So many players are more gifted than Arteta, but he knew the game inside out, and that is why he's gone on to be a top manager. I look at Xabi Alonso, for example, another one. He knew the game inside out. Paul Scholes knows the game inside out. Michael Carrick knows the game inside out. You know what I mean? Like, these players are not necessarily technically brilliant or the best in the world in terms of their footballing ability, like at the time Gerrard or Lampard was. But they know football inside out, and that's the main thing, man. That's the main thing for me. I had 500k for the remaining 4 matches and 2.5 mil if Leeds stays up. Well, there we go, man. I'll take that contract. I'll take that contract any day of the week. I've never managed a team in my life, and I'd take that. I just got a bit excited that I found your channel. No problem, Monsieur Arteta. No worries, we just chat football here. Exactly. Tommy Tornado's got it exactly spot on, man. Feel free to give your opinion. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'm not one of those people that makes a live chat subscribers only or anything like that. I feel like if you subscribe or not subscribe, that's completely your choice. You have a right to talk about football regardless on this channel. But yeah, just don't spam so I can get through every comment. That's all I ask, man. Share the stream, guys. Exactly, Malia. Good point. Is that what relegation teams earn 2.5 mil? No, that's probably the bonus that Sam Allardyce would get if he stays in the Prem. So for certain teams that are flirting with relegation, right, their players and manager would get a bonus if they stay in the Premier League. And then equally, if teams that are fighting for Champions League, for example, I know a lot of the Arsenal players probably have got a bonus now because they made Champions League football, because that would have been in their contracts from the start. Maybe like, make Champions League, will give you a bonus, something like that. Unless he ends up doing Scott Parker, lol. Yeah, exactly. You never know, man. What will it... Okay, bro, daddy, come on, man. What will it take to get Arsenal players to bounce back and regain the confidence for next season? It's a good question. It's a genuinely a very good question. I think the main thing is for the Arsenal players, right, is look at the progress you've made. That's the main thing, because they need to sit here and not say it's been a good season, because if they think it's been a good season or a successful season, then you've got the wrong mentality, because you're Arsenal Football Club. You should be fighting for titles. But you got to look at the progress. Now I think it's a time for us to stop bottling it, because for 70, 80% of the season, we were good. But just like the season before, we bottled it when it got to crunch time. The season before, right, we were this close to win top four. Sorry, to get in the Champions League place, finishing in the top four. And we bottled it at the final hurdle. Genuinely, we bottled it. And this season, we've done the same thing. We got to stop bottling it, man. It's a young team, I agree. But they've had 2 seasons now where they've been in crunch positions, in clutch positions, and they've not pulled it over the line. You got to start to turn that around now, man. You got to get to the point where it's enough of the bottling. You've had 2 seasons of doing it now. It's got to change. It's got to change for me. And also, another thing that annoys me is when these Arsenal fans and media go, no, Arsenal didn't bottle it. Don't give them excuses so they didn't bottle it. They did bottle it. They drew to West Ham and Southampton. That is the definition of bottling it. Dropping points to teams that are 16th and 20th in the table at home as well against Southampton. That is bottling it. So no one's saying, no, Arsenal fans, no media, miss me with all this stuff about Arsenal didn't bottle the league. City are amazing. Yes, they're not mutually exclusive events. City can be amazing and Arsenal can bottle the league at the same time. Just because City are amazing doesn't mean Arsenal didn't bottle the league. We dropped points to West Ham and Southampton. We did bottle it. I want the players to know they bottled it, and I want them to know they bottled it last year in the top 4 race as well. And I want them to next year not bottle it. That's my point. They bottled it. I'm not sitting here saying me saying Arsenal bottled it doesn't make me a non-Arsenal fan. It doesn't mean I don't back Arsenal. Of course I do. But also, I want the players to know they bottled it. I want the players to know that despite Man City being amazing, you were in pole position to win the league. You were. Like, what's the point of sport then? What's the point of any team playing football if you know Man City are going to win the league every season? You're the best team around, but we were in pole position to win it. So don't look at it and say that we didn't bottle it. We did bottle it, but we can bounce back next season, man. The progression's been good. Some good signings. I think we need a backup centre back, because I don't want to see Rob Holding touch the field again for Arsenal. Just my thoughts on it. I made this point the other day, man. Rob Holding for 1 or 2 games is fine. I have no problem with that. But even after we played Palace, even after we played Leeds, I was calling for him to be moved on. Why? Because, sorry, not moved on. I was calling for Saliba to come back. Why? Because Holding won't cost you in 1 or 2 games. He'll be fine. The thing that brings this man down is his consistency, bro. A leopard doesn't change their spots. Across 7-8 games is when Holding costs you. Last season in top 4 race, Holding came in for 1 or 2 games and was brilliant. But then it was Holding and Cedric for 7-8 games. Cost us at Newcastle, cost us at Tottenham. Season over, we end up in the Europa League. That's what costs us, man. Same this season. Holding comes in for 2 games, brilliant. Suddenly it becomes 7-8 games, costs us the title. A leopard doesn't change their spots. If he wasn't good enough to get us top 4, I guarantee he won't be good enough to win us the league. It's the harsh reality, but it's true. Arsenal fans love to bring up the 2017 FA Cup final performance. My friend, that was 6 years ago. No wonder they bring up 2017 FA Cup final performance. You think Man City fans bring up Ruben Diaz's performance from 2020, John Stones' performance from 2020, Kevin De Bruyne's performance from 2019? No, they show compilations from this season because they're good every week. Arsenal fans are the only fans on planet Earth. And I'm an Arsenal fan myself before Arsenal fans start grilling me. I'm talking about my own club here. So you don't have to say anything about how I'm talking about other teams. Arsenal fans are the only fans on planet Earth that will show a compilation from 6 years ago to back up why a player is good. Incredible. Imagine. The fact you have to show a compilation from 6 years ago shows how bad this brother is. He hasn't put a good performance in for 6 years. That's how crazy it is, man. Do you think Lampard is ruining his legacy? At Chelsea, I don't think it is. I think he made the mistake going to Chelsea. Now, I know why he did it. Obviously, he was going to take it, but I feel like it's not the right man. It's not the right move for him. If Graham Potter can't turn it around, there's no way he could. Let's be real about it. Chelsea need an experienced head in it. And I don't think Pochettino is that personally. I think Luis Enrique is that. They need a top manager to come in and start rolling some heads over and like to really start putting people in place. That's what I personally believe. And I don't think Lampard was ever going to do that personally. So I think it's definitely hurt his chance of ever getting a Premier League job now, at least for the near future. I think if he wants to get another job in management, which I think he will do, it will have to be in a championship or abroad. That's just my thoughts on it. Exact same thing with Company. Brilliant footballer. I can see so many. Exactly. NH, nail on the head. I was going to come to Company as well. Make a brilliant point. I never necessarily thought Vincent Company was a brilliant defender. Genuinely. I thought in terms of his abilities, defender wasn't amazing. It was good, but it wasn't amazing. But his IQ and knowing when to be in the right place at the right time was absolutely brilliant. And he understands the game. And look, when you played under Pep Guardiola for however many seasons, you learn a little thing about football. Let's be real about it. Facts. Exactly, Malia. Company was a leader. That's nothing, right? It's one thing knowing the game. It's nothing being a leader. They call me 006, 0 wins, 0 draws, and 6 losses. Exactly. And look, 007 incoming. Their next game is Bournemouth, I believe. What is Chelsea's next game? Chelsea fixtures. I believe it is Bournemouth. It is, yeah, Bournemouth away from home this Saturday. Of course, I'll be covering the Man City game, but I'll be talking about Bournemouth, Chelsea as well. I mean, Bournemouth away from home is not an easy game, man. I think Sheffield United gets relegated next season in the Premier League. Potentially. I mean, they're going to bounce up with Burnley, right? And the other team is up for grabs. Of course, I'll be covering the EFL playoffs on this channel. You make sure you subscribe for that as well. Football on this channel, man. Burnley finished 15th. Yeah, next season. Look, the thing with Burnley and the Company, right? This is a real thing because this is a question I've got to ask because a lot of teams, they play really good football in the Championship because obviously relative, right? They're the best team in the Championship. Once you come to the Premier League, you go from a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in a big pond. Do you start to play the same way again? Or do you revert to type and play defensive, lock up the back, siege mentality, and basically play like any promoted team does, which is just lock up defensively and not try to play expansive football? That's the question. That's what I got to ask myself because Burnley easily could do that. They've been doing that for years in the Premier League. They've been playing pragmatic style under Sean Dyche, where they just basically barricade themselves in, play compactly, play defensively, and nick stuff on the counter-attack with long ball. Company hasn't shown that. Now, if he goes to the Premier League and plays expansive football, they could get ripped apart and he could get taught a lesson. But equally, it could go very well for them. It'll be a very, very sustainable style. So I'm interested to see how Burnley play football next season because a lot of teams that get promoted from the Championship, I'm interested to see whether they do keep to their style and keep to the footballing style that they've been playing throughout the Championship, or they sack all that off because they know that they're the best team in the Championship. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the Premier League and just resort to playing long ball, park the bus, etc. I'm interested to find out. Did you hear what Samurai said about his football ability? Yes, he said that. To be fair, I feel like the journalist misconstrued his words a little bit. Basically, long story short, he said that in terms of understanding football, he's on a par with Guardiola, Klopp, Arteta, etc. He didn't say he was as good as them, but he said in terms of understanding football and knowing what to do, he is. Which I think is wrong, is a million times wrong because I don't care how old Sam Allardyce is. He's 68 years old. I don't care how many games he's managed. This brother never managed a Champions League final. Brother's never managed big games like that, bro. So he can't say the fact has the audacity to say he's on a par with Pep Guardiola, etc. It's mind games, obviously. He wants to make a statement in the journalism room, and I'm sure at his big age doesn't care what the media thinks about him or what fans think about him. He probably doesn't even have Twitter or Instagram, so he can say what he wants. To be honest, man. Yeah, I did. Yeah, shouldn't say that. Considered Pep City are up next. Exactly. And look, if you don't want to poke Man City's bear, I'll tell you that for free, man. Sam managed Anelka at Bolton. He did. And look, I remember in 2015 at Sunderland, he did a brilliant job to keep them up. I thought they were dead and buried. And he won some big games away. Look, I think if he keeps Leeds up there, that'll be the best thing he's done. Like in terms of like the best feat he's managed in football, because this Leeds team look doomed for me. I know they're surviving right now, and I know they're not even in the relegation places right now, but their fixtures are genuinely worryingly tough. Like they are bad fixtures, man. There's not one easy game there. And it starts with Man City, the toughest game in the Premier League away from home. Haaland has more goals than Everton, Southampton, Wolverhampton, Nottingham Forest, and Chelsea. Bloody hell, man. Bloody hell. Haaland is a goal machine, bro. Absolute goal machine, man. I spoke at length about Haaland yesterday, obviously, my stream, covering the Man City West Ham game. But this brother is unbelievable, man. Haaland, can he beat Dixie Dean's record? We'll have to find out. Personally, I don't think he'll do it. I don't think there's enough games left in the season for him to do it. And the crazy thing is, right, he keeps subbing him off, Pep Guardiola, man. Keeps subbing him off, man. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna go through the end of the comments. I'm gonna start to lock off the streams. I've got an exam tomorrow, so I've still got what's it called? Get some revision done tonight. But yeah, I'm gonna read off everyone's comments. I'm gonna start to end off the stream. I appreciate everyone tuning in as always. Hey man, football side, your streams are one of my favorite things to watch. I appreciate that as always, NH. Anyone that tunes in, man, I really appreciate you watching my streams as always. Make sure you subscribe if you're new into football related content. Yeah, that's the main thing, man. And you lot leaving your live chats as well, your thoughts. That's what I love as well, because anyone that wasn't here before, Before I used to do live streams, I used to just make videos on games I react to, like literally just a 10-minute video just upload on YouTube. Now I thought about it, and I was like, why not just do live streams? Because I don't edit my YouTube videos anyway. Like I just speak and then just upload it. So I might as well just do live streams because then I can hear everyone's thoughts at the same time. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. Yeah, big up this channel, great host. Appreciate it as always, my friend. You should do watch along Arsenal vs Wolverhampton on the final day on next season. Okay, Knights, there's a lot in the pipeline, my friend. Genuinely, there's a lot, man. I'm always, what's the word? Innovating with this channel. Watch alongs next season, I'm considering it heavily. I can't do Arsenal Wolves watch along because I'm going to the game. I've got my ticket to go to that game on the final day, but I will be doing a stream when I get back from that game, basically just round up the end of the season. Like it'll be like an hour and a half long, maybe 2 hours, who knows, man. So basically just round up every game. I'll go through every team and round up them. So make sure you tune into it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. The stream will probably start about 8 p.m.-ish, I can't lie. But yeah, it'll just round up the whole end of the season, etc. But yeah, football-related content, man. On this channel, that's all it's about. So make sure you subscribe. Makes you really appreciate it. Yes, 10 out of 10 channel. Hey, man, you're being too nice to me, man. Being too nice to me. Big Sam made the comment take the lights off of Leeds' current performance and the chairman leaving. Well, here's the thing, right? Because Big Sam's, look, you can mock him all you want and etc. And I know a lot of people will and saying, why are they giving Sam Allardyce a job? But the man's 68, yeah. He's got some wisdom about him. He's been around the game long enough. I don't care if you've got the IQ of a squirrel. I'm not saying Sam Allardyce does, by the way, if anyone takes that out of context. But I don't care if you've got the IQ of a squirrel. If you've been around football for 50 years, you're going to pick up a thing or two. Let's be real about it, right? And he knows what he's doing, I think. Genuinely, I do. I'd love for them to get a result at City. I heavily doubt it. Just because it's City. I think if he played any other game, he'd have a good chance. But it is what it is, man. I'd love for it to happen, but who knows? Who knows? He's got a chance to prove himself. And look, if he gets even a draw at Man City, that will make his weekend. That will make his absolute weekend. That's what I believe anyway. Big Sam is a big personality, but this will be one of his best teams keeping this team up. Exactly what I said. Exactly what I said. I hate Leeds, but want him to do it. Exactly. Bro, as an Arsenal fan, I'm hoping and praying. I hate Leeds as well. I'm a Galatasaray fan. It's my Turkish team, so I hate Leeds. Like, they're one of my most hated teams in the Premier League, but I'm banking on them to get something done. What have you heard about Gabriel's availability for Newcastle match? Is he healthy? I assume Saliba is still out. Well, here's the thing, right? Mikel Arteta is very tight-lipped on it. Doesn't like to give away a lot. He's just very quiet and says, maybe he might be back. I want to see. I'm not holding my breath. I think Gabriel's got more of a chance than Saliba just because Saliba's probably out for the season. I don't know what's going on there, but it's one of those things. It's crazy. Saliba got injured against Sporting Lisbon in the second leg, right? He was going to miss the Crystal Palace game. I was losing myself saying, oh no, he's going to miss the Crystal Palace game. Okay, he might miss Leeds, but that's an international break. At least he'll be back for Liverpool at Anfield. He missed the game at Anfield. I was like, bloody hell. Okay, he should be back for the Etihad, though. That's still a month away. And he missed the game at the Etihad. So now I just don't even care anymore, man. Like, Saliba, bro, you might as well just... There's no point risk aggravating your injury now. You might as well... When you get fit, we'll play you when you get fit, man. You need rotation. Arsenal severely like competition amongst the players. Yeah, agree. I have to be honest. I'd laugh if you got anything at Pep City. Bro, I'd laugh as well. Even a point. I subscribe, by the way. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it as always. Anyone that subscribes, I really appreciate that. Big Sam's going to cause trouble in the first 7 minutes of the game. Then City will break through and score 2 goals and win 2-0. Well, here's the thing, right? I would say the Man City's weaknesses is set pieces, but even then doesn't look like a real weakness anymore because they've got units in that team like Stones, Rodri, Haaland, 6'5". So now Man City they've turned their biggest weakness into one of their biggest strengths. Like their opening goal against West Ham was a set piece that Ake scored from, right? If they don't score that set piece, it could have been a very frustrating game. The thing is, when you play teams that have a low block, right? I always say this: the first goal is like 2 goals. Genuinely, it is. Getting that first goal against teams that play low block, like West Ham did, and I expect Leeds to do exactly the same, if not even worse than West Ham. That first goal, genuinely, their waters will burst. The dam will break through. The floodgates will open. And I think that was exactly that. So Leeds United got to defend properly, man. They got to defend properly. I'm interested to see what team he runs because Leeds United, I think they're actually better going forward than they are defensively. They've got the worst defense in this league. They've conceded the most goals in this league as well, I believe. So I'll be interested to see what team he goes with. But who knows, man? Who knows? Anything can happen in football. That's what I always say, man. But I wouldn't hold my breath on Leeds getting anything. I don't want him to go to Chelsea or Man United. He needs to choose us. Jordan, we get it, bro. Mac Allister's going to Liverpool. Don't worry, I'll cover Mac Allister news throughout the transfer window as well as any other big transfers happening. Yes, Jordan. Bournemouth is home. Yeah. Bournemouth's home against Chelsea. Correct. It looked like you're sleeping because the stream froze. That's the thing, man. Sometimes I do late night streams. The Wi-Fi does cut out a little bit, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, good luck with the exam. Yep, tomorrow, man. Exam, civil engineering, highway engineering. Anyone know anything about that? If you do, big up yourself. I'm dreading it, to be honest, man. But it's one of those things. 3-hour exam. 3 hours in one exam hall. Imagine that. vlog for the game. Tommy, that's my plan. If the title race is over by then, I probably won't. I can't lie. But if the title race is still on, even in a slim chance, I'm vlogging it 100%, 100%. Our man Garza and Leeds have some bad blood. 2 Leeds fans go like that. Exactly. From the European competitions, that's why Garza fan, I hate Leeds. Like genuinely, Leeds, Tottenham, Manchester United are my 3 most hated clubs. Leeds, Tottenham, Manchester United. That's my thoughts on it, man. But yeah, I'm gonna start to wrap up this stream because I have got my exams tomorrow. I appreciate everyone tuning in as always. If you just tuned in right now, I want to hear all about my thoughts on the game and everyone else's thoughts in live chat. Scroll right back to the start of the stream. As always, make sure you like down below, subscribe down below as well so you don't miss any football-related content. My next streams will be on Saturday and Sunday. Double header on both days. On Saturday, it starts at 5 p.m. Man City versus Leeds, the stream will start. And then at 7:30, a Liverpool versus Brentford stream. And then you've got on Sunday a double header as well. Newcastle versus Arsenal stream starting at 6:30 p.m. And then after that, West Ham United versus Manchester United stream starting at 9 p.m. So 4 streams on the weekend. I cannot wait for it. Make sure you subscribe for new rounds here. All right, bye. Good luck on your exam. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it as always. I have a highway GCSE. Well, there we go, man. There we go. Good luck tomorrow. I appreciate everyone that's saying that as always. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like down below. And if you're watching this as it's stopped being a stream, let me know your thoughts in the comment section on the game and anything else football related. I appreciate everyone tuning in as always, and I hope to see you all in my next one. Take care.